Hey up and welcome back to the Rugby League Outsiders. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl.
And in this episode, we're going to review our season so far, so Series 1. So every rugby club has an end of season do, presentation night, a little bit of review of the season, and this is that for us. So, Karl, I mean, it's only right that we start off and I kind of ask you, when we come up with this idea of a podcast, did you have any idea that you would do the things that you've done this year? You'd speak to the people that you've spoke to, and and been to the places and had the opportunities and all that.
Not a clue. It's really made my summer special, to be honest with you. It's we've gone on a real journey with it, haven't we?
Yeah.
When I sort of first spoke to you, and I was looking at doing something else with the media, and you kind of turned around and you went, "Oh, we've got a podcast studio set up." I was like, "It's a studio?" I was like, "Okay," and then we gave it a try, and I were a bit sketchy on first one, and weren't really sure how it was going to go, and how we were going to handle being on camera and all the rest of it, and started really enjoying it, and it's gone places, and people have got involved and really took to it.
I think what the moment where I go, fucking hell. Well, I've had a few moments like that where, like you've been doing stuff and I've been doing stuff and I've just been like, what? And you're just pinching yourself. Yeah. And, this weekend you went on the road, you went up to the Midlands final.
League One final.
League One final. Then you went to see Sheffield, Bradford.
Yeah.
And you like hobnobbing where you had the guy from Full Monty there.
Yeah, Mark Addy was there.
Mark Addy was there. You was chatting to him.
Adam Fogarty was there. I had a chat to him, talking to the hosts of the Viaplay who were, recording on that day, and you've got Kyle Amor there, and it's mad. I've gone into a different world all of a sudden, which I never really thought would have happened. And
it happened really quick, didn't it? Do you remember, we had all of a sudden we'd chat to Greg from the Midlands Hurricanes, and then before we knew it, we was heading up to Odsall, and we had behind the scenes access to the whole game and all that kind of stuff, and it happened really, really quick, didn't it?
Oh yeah, really quick, and we were sort of pinching ourselves a little bit, going, imagine if we got this person on the show, imagine if we got that person on the show. And turns out, a couple of weeks later, we have got those people on the show, and it started growing, and it was just. I think we've helped out the amateur clubs as well. That's what's most pleasing about it. I think we've helped to bring the amateur game, give it a bit more of a spotlight almost, which is it was great.
Well, I mean, it's fantastic, Karl, isn't it? How many times have we said fantastic this year?
I don't think. Have you got a reel of that?
I was trying to put one together, so maybe in the next episode we'll share.
It took you too long to edit it.
So what I was going to say was, when we did that first episode and you said, right, how will you know? I asked the question or whatever. How will you know that you're on the right track, that you're doing well? And I said, well, I'll know when we're at games and we're doing stuff and people are just talking about the podcast as if it's like an everyday thing. And that happened within a few weeks. People all of a sudden were saying, it's them from the Outsiders. You were getting recognised at games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a bit uncomfortable, that was, to be honest with you.
Especially when the referee...
The referee notices you, yeah.
We might...
Took great pride in noticing me and sending me off the other side of the pitch, yeah.
Yeah, well, we might have a few clips about when we spoke about that. So speaking about clips, we've put a little bit of a reel together of some of our amazing guests, and we have had some incredible guests. So let's play that little reel now and just a little reminisce really about some of the amazing guests that we've had. Okay, here we go. So this is the first Rugby League Outsiders podcast. First of all, there's no way that Karl and I could start a podcast in the Midlands talking about rugby league without inviting Fred along. So moving on to you, Matt.
Quite impressive what Fred's been saying.
Graham Berry, who is an MNDA fundraiser and also a lifelong Wigan fan, and also Jason Spafford. He's the director of rugby at New Ravens Club in the Midlands, but also has got loads of history with rugby league in the Midlands. Probably my most exciting guest, to be honest. That's the CEO of the Midland Hurricanes, Greg Wood. Alex Smith, who we've both known quite a while now. He's the head coach of junior rugby league side Shrewsbury Lions and the founder and co-owner of Did a Rugby. Mark Austin and Lewis Collins, both Midlands-based referees. When we were starting this podcast, we was getting it ready, we spoke to a few people and said, right, who do we need to speak to? And this guy's name came up time and time again. It's Adam Bates, who is the chairman of Sherwood Wolfhunt, but also the team manager for the Ireland team for the 2022 World Cup. Toby Whelan, who's a winger, but also handles a lot of the social media for Leamington, does a cracking job. And we've also got Pete Gattenby, who's the captain of Leamington Royals, and he's got a little bit of history with Karl. It'd be good to kind of get the insider take on that. Two great guests this week in Sean Sudworth and Stuart Hood. One, the kind of outgoing chairman of Birmingham Bulldogs, and then Stuart Hood, who is the new chairman of the Birmingham Bulldogs. And today we've got two incredible guests that really are spearheading wheelchair rugby league, and that's James Simpson and Martin Gill. It's Roy Reeve, who's the assistant coach at Nottingham Outlaws, and is also a head of recruitment. Becky Davis, who is currently the head coach of the North Wales Crusaders women's team, and also a player at Salford Red Devils. And also Darren Mawson, who is the team manager for the Midlands Hurricanes, but also the team manager for the Welsh international side. Two awesome guests with us from the Staffordshire Quantums. We've got Matt Williscroft and Martin de Ridder. A great guest from the Oxford Cavaliers coach and secretary Jamie Jones. Yeah, some awesome guests.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome guests. Karl, who do you think we kind of missed out on? Or who did you have kind of half lined up and we never managed to get them on the show and you really would have liked to get them on?
Oh, you proper dropped me on the spot there.
But behind the scenes, so the way it's kind of set up is like I handle sort of the tech and get all this set up, right? Which, to be honest, that's the easy job. But Karl's job is he gets the guests lined up, gets them here, preps them, makes sure they got the right questions. That they know exactly where they. And that is like herding cats. It's fucking mental.
Yeah.
So you've had that job, and every week you've been chatting to different people, trying to get people lined up, trying to get calendars synchronized and all this kind of stuff. So just think.
Do you know what? I don't think there's anyone we've missed out on as such. Because I think I'm already sort of lining people up for the next series, really. So I wouldn't say we've missed out on anyone, because everybody we have had on has been brilliant. We haven't had a bad guest, have we, really? Have we?
Just us two. No, you're right. And it's like we said before. If we'd have said, okay, just going through there, Ireland. Team manager, Welsh team manager. We've had international women's players. We've had. Just incredible guests, and
we visited places we didn't think we'd visited. We were at Odsall, weren't we? We were at Headingley dripping in money. We were in the box that we never thought we'd be recording somewhere like that. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, there's been loads of stuff we've done, really.
Yeah, I remember kind of, we turned up at Headingley and he was like, are we allowed in here? He was like, fuck it, let's go. And we found ourselves in the hospitality suite, you know what I mean? Drinking the water and just wandering around, it was
one thing I have learnt in doing this and sort of going on the road and going to different places, if you act like you should be there, people treat you like you should be there. So that's my motto, really.
Well, and a pat on the back from me, Karl, because one of the reasons why this I think it's done so well this year is because you fucking stick your neck out. And, you go and speak to people and you say, do you mind if we just have a little chat on camera? Craig, come on, what's up? You know what I mean? And you've done that right from the start. And I think that's why we've had such exciting guests. And obviously, there's some guests that we've spoke to, we've got videos and interviews from that are not in them little clips. So,
no.
Who has been some of your favourite sort of standout Rugby League Outsiders extra guests?
Well, I for me, you asked me a question, didn't you? Right on, I think it was first episode. You went, who would you really like to get on this show? And I'm sure I said something like, I'd love to get a top coach on, like a Brian Noble or somebody like that. Turns out a couple of weeks later, we were sort of speaking to Brian, and it was great. So do I idolise? I don't idolise these people. They're sort of people you see all the time on TV, and they're sort of it's always great to just sort of get a chat with, and I haven't been disappointed with anybody that we've met, to be honest with you.
No, but you was disappointed with me in regards to Brian Noble, though, weren't you? Because
go on. I don't know if we've properly spoken about this on air, have we?
I don't know, but we did a phone-in interview with Brian, didn't we? It was late at night. And, he'd fucking waited around for us, got us on the phone, we had a great conversation with him. We were really talking about the upcoming game between Bradford, and you'd asked him you put him on the spot, and he'd given some great questions. Anyway, I wiped all the footage.
Well, I think I was speaking to you usually we're in sort of direct conversation every week, and you went quiet on me for about 2 days, going, he hadn't really messaged me back for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden I got this message saying, I might have deleted Brian Noble.
Yeah, and it was like, what can we do to get this footage back? You know what I mean? We tried everything. We downloaded a million bits of software to try and recover it, and all I could say was
we half recovered it, didn't we? But it wasn't the professional standard we wanted to put out, was it?
The sound was shocking, and the only thing I could say was, look, Karl, we're going to Odsal. We will get Brian Noble and we will interview him again. And
we did, didn't we?
We did.
We didn't let him leave building.
He was pissed. He just wanted to. In fact, he wanted to talk business, didn't he?
He did, because they were signing a couple of contracts. It were time sensitive as well. Yeah, but we're going. Yeah, but don't worry about that, because it's really important to get on Rugby League Outsiders podcast.
Who else do we have, Karl? Them extras. I enjoyed talking. I talked to Jodie Cunningham and Amy Hardcastle.
Yeah.
And what an amazing story. It turns out, I was chatting to Amy Hardcastle. So, you're from Halifax. I'm from Halifax. Oh, whereabouts? I told her where I was. She was like, fucking hell, that's where I live. Where? And it turns out we were almost neighbours. Then it turned out that when she worked in care before she got into professional rugby league, and she looked after my step grandparents, you know what I mean? Just such small, and we were both like, what the fuck, and just we had no idea. We met at the Alexander Stadium, and it just turns out our lives were kind of intertwined. So they were great.
I really enjoyed when you interviewed Josh Hodgson as well. I wasn't there when you did that extra clip, but that was just good, because it was it was everything that this podcast should be. You were interviewing a local lad who played rugby in the Midlands, and he was now cutting his teeth up north. One of the best players in the Championship. He's just actually got Player of the Year for Batley.
Has he?
Super League contracts on the horizon, if the rumours are to be believed. So that was just it's a great story, and another story that we followed this year. It's just been brilliant.
I tell you what I loved about talking to Josh. I've listened to Super League players on the TV, and we've spoke to League One players and all this, and I got more depth to rugby league conversation from Josh than you get, whether they're nervous on the camera or whatever. But he really kind of went into a lot of depth. So if you haven't listened to that podcast, go and listen to it, because it's it's really good.
You get a few rugby league players who just sort of at the end of the day,
just run hard.
But it was a great interview, wasn't it? I really enjoyed that one.
Okay, so great guests, but we've also had a few kind of funny clips. We've had an absolute barrel of laughs. We pulled out a few of these funny clips, so we're going to play.
Well, this is the shortened version, and it's the 22-minute long version.
Yeah, it was 22 minutes, and we had to bloody cut it right down. So, but we're gonna stick it on. And Mum says, I just stood on the corner of the pitch crying in the freezing cold of wind and rain. You remember the old hot baths you used to have?
Yeah.
I remember this thing. I got in it, and it was like my freaking skin was just melting off because it was that hot, and I was like, what the fuck is this thing we call rugby?
And then Hull Care obviously beat your men last week, which I predicted. No, I didn't. I got it wrong. I should have gone with that prediction.
I predicted it.
Craig did.
Yeah. But I think you said, I can't see past Wigan.
No.
I was like, which Wigan are you watching then?
Yeah. One quote said something like, they need to spend more time on the training ground and less time in the hairdressers.
there was some funny haircuts going on. That was the first thing my missus said when we turned the game on. She went, there's some right mullets going on in here. What's going on with Wigan lads and all lads?
I think Wigan, again, have got a couple of losses. What are you laughing at? What?
I just,
You don't understand my reasoning?
no, you've just gone for all the
This is why we
opposites of
should
what I've
have it.
expected, but I've not been very complimentary for Wakefield the last couple of weeks.
no.
Said they were going to get
Or
relegated.
Featherstone.
They're not going to let me back in West Yorkshire.
Okay, moving over then. So you might hear a definite increase in the quality of the audio. I take full responsibility for that and apologise. Yeah, we've got to mention Saints, like beating Penrith.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely brilliant, wasn't it?
Incredible game. Do you see the rain that was bouncing off the pitch?
That would suit a British team.
Well, that was what the Aussies were getting in nice and early, wasn't it? They needed some
was it?
excuses straight. Oh,
course they did.
it's raining, that's why,
Yeah.
They were saying, oh, yeah, Saints will be used to playing in this. And I looked at it, it was like a tropical storm. I've never seen a tropical storm in St Helens. It was absolutely hammering it down, wasn't it? Electrical storms. So, yeah.
I've never experienced that in rugby league where you feel it's a thankless task, even when.
You can't have ref me too many times.
Well, I'm really trying to tiptoe around this. 10 years ago, I was in Perpignan. Catalan were playing Hull KR. And anyway, we were flying back to Manchester on the Saturday. Got to the airport, and there was about 150 Hull KR fans, like all shirted up and looking like Hull KR fans. Tiny little airport, one scanner, one security guard, that kind of thing. Anyway, who I was travelling with said, have you got any liquids in your bag? Because I'm renowned for having liquids in my hand luggage and getting picked up for it, and I'm like, no, of course I haven't. Anyway, went through the one scanner, and I had a can of Pepsi Max in the bottom of my bag, holding up the away contingent of Hull KR fans who weren't that happy with me in the departure lounge afterwards. So.
Only way that could have been worse if you'd have been wearing a black and white shirt.
Exactly.
But my girlfriend at the time had bought me these really wacky Ann Summers boxer shorts, right? Where they were fucking huge, big white things, and then there was like a knob drawn on them, anyway, so I spent the whole match just running around with these Ann Summers boxer shorts hanging out the bottom of shorts.
Brilliant.
So wait up, what's happening?
And he's the first guest that's brought us
a bit of merch.
Yeah,
so he brought us a hat each, which is appreciated. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Okay, little look forward.
None at Telford lads are going to talk to me now, are they?
You got a bit of shit on your head, mate.
Our social committee did somewhat let us down last year, but this year we've set a couple of mulleted chaps to it.
Mulleted chaps.
Yeah.
I think
How many mullets you got in the team?
Oh, quite a few. We had a mullet of the year contest last year.
Yeah.
we had 7 in one squad.
Oh, that's proper rugby league now, isn't it?
That's strong because
on trend,
mullets
that is.
weren't in the UK. Like mullets weren't.
We don't have any sleeves though.
it.
We don't have enough sleeves.
It's all,
That's what we're missing.
it's all ironic schoolboy.
It's because you're middle
mullets,
class,
so,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Are the sleeves in Leamington?
Not from people from Leamington.
No.
Not from me.
We need to create some waves and make some
Yeah.
talking points. You know what I mean? It's like the Lee Leopard shirt, which we talk about every week. You know what I mean? With the red eyes on the nipples. It's just genius. Because we talk about it all the time.
And then sacked that one off because they were going to try and make the freshers eat poo, and I didn't want to do that.
Why not? So we.
Yeah. When they tried to rationalise it to me as well, I was like, you can't sell this to me. It just doesn't make any sense.
As a middle-aged white heterosexual male, I feel like.
Where's this going?
Anybody want to go to Karachi for a meal? No. I feel that there's a load of traps. It's just, like I'm never like free reign on social media because I'm like, some freaking vegan is going to have it in for me or something, and I think that's just
This could be the last ever podcast.
Might not make the cut.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to make
I
the
don't
cut.
think we have many vegan subscribers.
No, we don't. Hello. No, stop.
Not now.
Right, stop. So, and this is what I'm saying. So that I think people naturally hold back because you just don't know who you're going to freaking trigger.
Leamington not being a particularly strong, not having particularly strong rugby league heritage.
I mean, it's a very middle class place.
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got a Rupert and a.
Have you? It's Harquin.
We've got a lot of double barrel
Tarquin,
surnames. Yeah.
A lot of tweed. A lot of tweed knocking around.
Yeah, with the farmers anyway, that's for sure.
Here's a mark of how snobby it is. My wife loves Leamington, so it must be snobby.
I mean, it's a lovely place,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it is very middle class.
Yeah. Just chirp in, mate, if you've got questions. But if not, I'll carry on.
What have you got?
Are you just playing hard to get there? Are you too flirting?
And then the second point to discuss is the charging £6 to go watch community rugby.
Discuss. If Bulldogs charge for when we go and play them, I will be personally refunding people who have to watch me play.
I might come
Can I
down
get
just-
refunded playing with you?
And we want media passes, yeah. Did you ever do the cougar crawl?
No.
I never.
Where did that come
Never
from?
played for the Cougars.
Oh, right,
No,
right,
no, yeah,
okay.
so-
Pre-Cougar.
Pre-Cougar, yeah.
What's the Cougar crawl?
It's like I
think you should show us.
It's fucking when I used to play against any key
Can you
flick
show us the cast caterpillar as well?
when I used to play against any Keighley team at junior level, they used to do if they beat
Well, the
us.
juniors did this.
Yeah, which they beat us quite often because they
Yeah.
what going on. They used to do this like fucking thing where they were all going on their hands and knees and they'd all hold each other's legs and do this fucking crawl floor. Honestly,
No.
And then they got to end of it and they used to roll over and do this thing with it, like kick the legs and hands up in air, and all the junior teams did it if they won. They're the cougar crawl.
I've never heard of that before.
No, I've never heard of that. Have you heard of that?
However, just give me an idea for training.
Yeah. So there's two ways that great ideas are formed. One is in a WhatsApp group, and the other one is on the piss.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the two.
How did we come up with this then?
I don't know.
That were neither of them, I don't think.
Well, no, it's not a good idea.
What sort of cost are you looking at to get these chairs in, and are they specifically rugby league based chairs, or are they just general chairs that you use for?
Yeah, so they are specific to wheelchair rugby league. I think if you look at Simo's chair, that's probably worth 4 of our chairs at the moment. is a souped up Formula One. So
I hate media and limelight. And like,
no, genuinely.
yeah, you're-
I'm not sure he does now. He genuinely used it like, I think he used to have like, I need a month's notice if you want to take any
like
photo.
when Martin,
like not even like.
when Martin first took over as a coach, I didn't speak to him for 2 months.
No, he didn't. Like, I was a coach. He just went,
Did you think, oh, he's a bit strange?
I was like, I'm just going to stay out of the way. I don't want to do anything. But I think, so when John asked me to be the ambassador for the World Cup, I think that's why, because I was like a reluctant, I wasn't doing it for me or
It
for
wasn't
anything.
about you, it was about
it's
the game.
about the game. And,
Yeah.
and that's what I care about the most. I don't like the self, like the glory of it. For me, it's the game I care about and what he gave me and what he did for me. So I think that's why I got asked to be the ambassador, because I do what I had to do, and then I'll disappear back in the shadows till I'm needed.
goes back to his Winnebago.
yeah. But I saw the opportunity, and I think that's why when John asked me to be an ambassador, I was like, the opportunity's never been done before. We've never had a wheelchair ambassador for the World Cup, and when John asked me, I was like, I see how this can change the game.
Well, apparently all you need to do is just have red eyes on your nipples and you
I'm not getting involved in this conversation. This is the bit where I say cut. That was one quote that I quoted from that just stuck with me, and I was just like, wow, that's just like pen dropped. That just makes it tick. I think, we were just chatting over poached egg and sourdough toast. It's probably proper posh since it looked like a couple.
Sourdough? In Edinburgh?
I remember the days when we used to have beans on toast and a brew. I was like, poached egg and sourdough and smashed avocado. I was like, what's going on? I'm from Cat. And he spun round in his chair, fell backwards, banged his head. So I've gone on. I'm like, I'm gonna have to bring you off, mate. It's a head injury. You've banged your head. He's like, I banged my head. I went, yeah, you need to come off. He's like, I lost both my legs in a war. and I was like, yeah, I get that, but the protocol is you've banged your head, so I had to drag him off, just like, But
It's like coughing during COVID, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Everyone was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah.
But it's here, I mean,
never has rugby league been described as that before.
Not virus. Yeah. By the way, if you don't know as well, this is currently the hottest podcasting studio in the world. It's like getting the surface of the sun, so bear with us if we start sweating.
yeah, it's not
And
easy. I'll be
also-
honest with you at the moment.
There's a lot of sheep out there. I think they're going to pass out with the heat. So if you can hear the sheep, apologies for that.
You should not have told me that, unfortunately. Being a Welshman, you can't tell us things like that.
Darren and I are leaving now.
Okay, so I'm going to pile the pressure on here. I'm going to ask you both for a golden point question. Over to you first, Becky. What is it?
Okay, mine is going to be, please, or can you demonstrate your ability to sing Baby Shark?
Which is a belter. And I can't wait for
Entertainment
this.
value, 100%. Thank you.
Fair enough. I've just got back on a holiday from Turkey, and that was what was happening
Oh, is
every
it?
single night.
Yeah.
Baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark. Grandma.
I thought that'd be enough.
No, the end goes, run away, do. They'll safe at last, do. I know most of them.
Nailed it.
Done some videos, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's been good because you weren't impressed with my videos, were you?
Oh, God, no. He did some videos at the beginning of the season of a game, and we were about to score a try, but he wants to get in a better position to watch it, so he then runs with his phone. He can't see any of the action.
We've all been
The whistle
there.
goes, and then you just see a post. You're like, bloody hell.
What?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Wasn't the one that was the camera wasn't even facing the right way?
That's the one.
Stand there. I remember seeing it. I was like, what's going on here?
I was going to live film it, but I couldn't work out how to press the button to flip the camera around.
Oh, there was some terrible ones. Everyone he sent, he put about 5 or 6 in the group chat. And I was
terrible.
like, I can't use any of these.
So in this first game, this lad rocks up and he's
All
sort of,
dead, stocky.
Really sort of looks almost sort of like a Desperate Dan type, bit of sort of stubble. Looks like he's played before. Is he? Yeah. And it's one of those where it's not so much what's his name. It's that such and such or is that such and such. But we know his name's Lee, and
he starts on the wing, doesn't he?
He starts. He plays the whole game. We've got loads of lads sort of asking him different questions. Do I stand here? Where do I, what do I do here?
And I think he's going along with it a bit. He's like, yeah, you're right here.
Oh, it wasn't like looking startled. He was chatting them back to them. And we found out we've got this player called Kelvin, a rugby union player, who drinks in the Pear Tree pub in Rugeley. This guy played no kind of rugby ever in his life. He just drank with Kelvin in the Pear Tree pub. We were asking him all sorts.
How old is he?
13, maybe.
Yeah. Amazing.
He just looked like he should play.
I think the beauty was he played on the opposite wing to where the coach was, so he stayed on the whole time.
First game against Telford, and I mean,
there was absolutely loads of people turned out for that, weren't there?
It's like I was saying, really, it's like watching a car crash, isn't it? He come on. 5 minutes, Baz, get him off. Get him off.
I was put in the wrong position, I think, because.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. So they described me as I was tackling like a turnstile, basically.
First 10 minutes, I'll test the referee. Turns out the fucking referee's been watching. Fill us in, Karl. What happened at the weekend?
Yeah, I didn't have a good afternoon. I think...
as well as getting a black eye, what else did you pick up?
Well, I managed... I don't know how I quite managed it, but I managed to get 2 yellow cards... And the red all in the same fucking game.
But was the red as a result of the 2 yellows?
No. I'm sort of laughing about it, but I was honestly, I was pretty distraught and pretty messed up my weekend.
Seriously, did you lose your head? What
I didn't actually lose my head. That was I could understand it if I lost my head, and I just went absolutely mental. And I got done for an eye tackle. I came across the field and sort of went up over the top of him, but and then I got done for language, even though it was aimed at my own player. And then the red was it was a red. It was a red.
not even contesting.
There wasn't long left in the game, and we needed that ball back. We were going uphill. The game was getting away from us. I went out there to just get this momentum change and got it wrong big time. I went out to just put a really big hit in. Unfortunately, one of our lads dropped the lad around the legs as I went straight forward to him, and it hit him a bit high. And I was.
30, is he all right?
30 seconds.
Is the lad all right?
Oh yeah, it was all right. Yeah, it was all right. 30 seconds after I come back on pitch, I was back on the sideline. So Phil, I do apologise.
What did he say to you afterwards?
Well, he didn't look at me.
Well, just sort of going back through there was some absolutely just brilliant ball. We were just laughing all the way through.
Yeah.
What was your favourite one, Karl?
Kelvin from the Pear Tree Pub, I think. He's an absolute belter.
Yeah. Them 2 lads were brilliant. So that was some of the funny clips. Now, obviously, as well as the funny clips, we've had a few things going wrong. Now, we haven't got the clip of the water, but just whilst I sort this clip out, tell us about the little clip of when I was pouring the water.
Yeah, we were. I can't even remember which episode it was on, but we were sort of in deep, serious conversation about something. Someone was. So it was quite a big moment, and all of a sudden I heard this. I was like, what's that? He's there with pouring a jug of water. It sounded like you were bloody taking a leak up in corner at studio.
And didn't I go like, sorry, no, just carry on.
Just like you absolutely killed the momentum of conversation, like just stone cold dead.
Well, we've got some bloopers here that we're going to share. There's a couple of these will stand out, Karl, in your memory.
Let's move on then. Last game of the week is Hull versus Lee. Lee are 9th, doing all right. Hull, that's wrong. I'm not going to write these notes anymore, but that's wrong.
Okay, moving over then. So you might hear a definite increase in the quality of the audio. I take full responsibility for that and apologise.
Yeah, Toronto won that 34 points to 22, and there was also a women's game. Fucking hell.
Sure, that's fucking brilliant. That's Karl's new sign. Yeah, amazing.
I think we frightened Leamington lads to death when sign fell down.
Well, they didn't see it, did they? They were just like sat there and bloody all of a sudden it just dropped behind them. But I remember we were so proud.
Yeah, I spent all day making that sign. We laminated I cut the wood with a handsaw and then laminated it and put the lighting on it, painted the outside, and 20 minutes into recording, it's falling off at wall and smashing to pieces.
Yeah, it was brilliant. So yeah, plenty of bloopers, plenty of things that didn't quite go to plan. So
thank God we edit it.
No, well, and people might be able to see this like new setup. We're playing these clips and all this kind of, and this is all designed to be able to do just produce more episodes, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know
what
I mean? Just faster, perhaps better quality. We're always trying to progress and. It's probably worth just talking about how things have progressed, Karl. Like, what do you remember as being the timeline as like significant points of progress for the podcast?
Well, first episode, like I didn't really know what I was doing. Like we didn't. We were just winging it, weren't we? Well, we'll just have a chat about rugby and see what happens. And then sort of Fred gave us a few ideas, and it started developing. Then a couple of episodes in, we added the set of 6. That made a difference. That's when it started becoming a show rather than just a general topic of conversation.
It gave it like a spine. You know what I mean? And we could all of a sudden we could send this to the guests and prepare. We're going to talk about this. And we could also our aim was to help grow the game and spread the word outside the heartlands, and it gave us that opportunity just to mention bits of news. But that was another job that you kind of took on. And I remember like you were going, fuck it, I'm struggling with the news, or set of 6, but sometimes you'd have like 9
20 stories.
Trying to get it all into one. But yeah, that was definitely a point in which the show progressed.
That's when clubs started getting involved with it, because the people wanted to then start getting mentioned in it. And first few episodes, I was scrambling around trying to find news stories, and I was like ringing people and messaging people and tweeting, and I was struggling to get the stories in. After about 3 or 4 weeks, everybody was coming to me and just going, "Oh, can we get this on it? Can we get this on it?" And often we had a set of 7. Do you remember set of 7 extra tackle, a tweet of the week, and just try and get all the stories.
I've got to say though, we're not complaining. Those clubs, those personalities at clubs that were sending news through, it was brilliant because it definitely made your job easier. Yeah. And what we got is we quite often got the scoop. We got the news before it hit anywhere else. So and that's what we was after really. So keep going with that.
I think we announced 3 brand new clubs in the Midlands.
We did. You're right.
We sort of had the sort of exclusive. We sort of we put that news story out there, and I tell you how far it's come. Like, I had Brazil International Rugby League contact me this week, basically sent me a press release and said, can you put this out on your show? And that's mad, isn't it?
Well, and we talked before, like there was a guest. We had loads of interest from clubs in Canada. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We had the whole, we'd done a recording on, in fact, we've still got it in the archive to bloody
put it out.
We haven't put it out, but... clubs in Canada that just wanted to get the news out there. So it was great. Where else did we hear from?
We've had some contact from Australia. I've had a bit from France. And then other bits, if you're on about sort of milestones as the show progressed, I think we started to change the studio setup a little bit. We got the sign. We started originally with just a picture of you in Afghanistan, didn't we? On back quarter start with.
We did, yeah.
And that'll carry on progressing. And then we added in the golden point extra time question, which was a great idea of yours, and that linked all the shows together, didn't it?
Yeah. So it was like, we got the guest from that week to just ask a question that we didn't release, and then we kind of dropped it on their lap when they were recording it, what I mean? And towards the end of the series, you could see with like Becky Davis there, where she was like, I don't want a fucking rugby question, I want him to sing Baby Shark. And we couldn't have had better guests to do that with the lads from the Staffordshire Quantums, could we?
And the Quantums lads asked a question they didn't know the answer to.
They were like, I think it was, was it this? I think it was, I was like, do you know the fucking answer? They're like, no.
I don't think we ever got to the bottom of it, did we?
We didn't.
To be continued, that is for another series, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some of the key moments. Now, as well as kind of bloopers, funny moments, great guests. We did make a bit of sense sometimes.
More so you than me. I think the inspirational quotes came definitely from you. I just said everything was fantastic.
Anyway, I've fucking picked a few of those interesting quotes out, which we're going to play. We're going to play now.
Something I would like to encourage is having better communication between clubs and cooperation. Competition's on the pitch. We need to cooperate off the pitch.
There's two quotes that stand out in my mind, and I think it just sums it up perfectly. And one is, a rising tide lifts all ships, and I think if you can raise the profile of every club, get every player excited. And then the other one is that, the strength of a wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf. As individuals, we're strong with the other clubs around us, and with all the clubs around us, we're strong as individuals.
I do want the French to win, because I'm an expansionist. So, Karl on.
With military guys, the guys I see really struggle, including myself at times in my life, was when their past was much brighter than the future. And they're constantly looping back thinking, when I was in the military, I did this.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day, exactly that, yeah. And you can never see anything better than that. I see people dramatically improve when all of a sudden they've got a brighter future. You know what I mean? And it sounds to me like you was like, look, I don't know how we're going to get there, but there is a brighter future out there. We need to go headlong into that, and then somehow, like the Ghostbusters, getting their streams together, everyone sort of got the streams together, and then it paid off. Everybody goes through some level of shit. You know what I mean? The only thing that varies is the depth. Yeah. This fucking still smells the same. All that. And what you're saying there is, none of us had the resources to get through that stuff at the time, but you find them somehow. You know what I mean? When you're faced with adversity and all that kind of stuff, we find them. And I honestly believe that everybody's got it inside them. You know what I mean? It just takes a bit of shit for it to come out, and to find that. I had a great quote this week, which is either have a shit or get off the toilet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some good stuff there.
Either have a shit or get off the toilet. Inspirational quotes.
But it's right though, isn't it? It's like either do what you're going to do or fucking move on. You know what I mean? But we get caught up sometimes. So.
I love Fred's quote, and that was like on episode 1, wasn't it? And he said, competition off the pitch and cooperation off the pitch to help grow the game. And what really stood out was 17 episodes on, where we were filming with Martin and James Simpson.
Who lives in Scotland, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like he's freaking the club next door.
No, and he reeled back Fred's quote that he sort of seen on the podcast. So that was brilliant.
The story was he was talking to Lewis Copeland from Rugby League in Scotland.
Oh yes,
a wheelchair game, and they were talking about the growth and all this kind of stuff. And then Lewis Copeland quoted Fred from the second episode of The Outsiders, and it stuck in Martin's head. You know what I mean? And then he's talking, he's saying it back to us. So,
and that's when we knew. I think we were doing something right then. When driving the game forward and people are watching it like that. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Right. Well, obviously, we spoke about presentation, and obviously we've had some amazing guests We've had some incredible moments. And in our first year, we decided we was going to do... Oh, bring up my thing. Our first year, we decided we was going to do 2 awards.
Yeah.
So we put out some nominations. We'll play a little clip about those in a minute. Karl, do you want to show us the incredible? Just go steady because I know they're quite heavy.
They're engraved as well, so not to give away the winner.
All right,
yeah. That's the really heavy. That's the award. I don't know if it's
no expense spared, but
showing up on camera.
Yeah, I think we can see it. Yeah, we can definitely see it there. Which one is this for? What's that?
So we've got 2. So the first one we're going to do is most inspirational guest of the series, and just first of all, these are really hard to pick, to be honest with you, because we've had some really, really good guests, haven't we? And to try and whittle them down to sort of 5, it was a lot harder than you would have thought, really.
Yeah. Let me just tell you the criteria that we kind of came up for that, and then we'll show the nominations. We'll have a little chat about the nominations and then talk about the ultimate winner, which, by the way, we kind of had a bit of a conversation backwards and forwards, and that's how we've picked it. We was going to do a big poll and a big survey and all this kind of stuff, and there was just too much going on, so that's kind of how we've done it. So the most inspirational, awarded to the guest that has a strategic plan for sustainable growth of rugby league outside the Heartlands and whose dedication, time and effort deserves recognition. Now, some of our nominees, they may have like amazing dedication, done amazing things, and they're not, maybe it's not helped grow the game or something like that. So what we did was we looked at the whole thing across the criterion, who is kind of the best, and I know that some of the nominees were quite surprised at their nomination, but I think that just shows how modest that people involved in rugby league can be.
Yeah, I don't know why, because I think certainly the 5 that we've shortlisted, they all deserve to be there. So yeah, we'll play that now.
Right, most inspirational. Here we go. We'll play them clips. So here we go.
They all are.
So there we go. I'm just going to kind of flick back through the nominations.
So number 1 was Lizzie Ranstead, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lizzie. So we were chatting to Lizzie. It became apparent that she is involved in Colostomy UK. So these are rugby league players that have all got colostomy bags fitted. They've all had, colon issues and all this kind of stuff, and colostomy bag. And they just, if you look at them on social media, they just look like they have amazing fun. They always seem to get a team together. And I think in my life I've met about 4 or 5 people with a colostomy bag. You know what I mean? There's not that many, but they seem to actually, thrive on the rugby league.
Yeah, and there was the sort of questions were asking, well, can you play with a bag? And there's different versions of the game, and almost like a bit of a masters game.
Yeah.
And yeah, just great that they've all got together. And they're not just playing rugby and having a good time. They're also raising money as well. And also with Lizzie, she's also sort of pioneering the women's game. So she's coaching at the junior level as well. She's pushing the Coventry Bears forward. She's also coach of Worcester Rugby Union, so she's just involved in absolutely loads of stuff.
Yeah, she just loves rugby league.
Really inspiring talking to her.
And in terms of like criteria, definitely helped grow the game, definitely inspirational. So that was that. Next one was Alex. Now we both know Alex really well. What was it that kind of struck you about Alex?
Just his absolute passion for growing rugby at junior level, and he just wants to get a rugby ball in kids' hands, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's not only is he just coached, he's actually come up with like full-on programs to develop kids, because he went out there and he sort of said, I've seen sort of junior,
like a franchise.
Yeah, I've seen junior rugby, and I wanted it to be better than that. And he's worked tirelessly to create proper programs for teams. he's gone out there and set up different clubs. He's involved in a number of clubs.
I think it's 4 clubs.
Yeah,
I think it was 4 clubs that he's actually played a hand in creating and putting together.
And he's just his passion for the game he just shone through so much, and he was just all about positive rugby league, wasn't he? And that's what really sort of inspired me about Alex.
Yeah. Next up was Lewis Copeland. We spoke to Lewis a couple of times. Our man in Scotland. We used to call him.
Yeah, we've franchised him.
What was it with Lewis, Karl?
I think it's a little bit like us, really. It's a sort of. He's just pushing.
Well, no, he weren't, because he didn't, like, you and I, born and bred in rugby league.
Yeah.
He just didn't go to a game and went, what the fuck, this is amazing, and then all of a sudden he had a Twitter account set up, then Instagram, and now he's actually working
for Scotland Rugby League. He didn't even know that the Scottish team had a side when he went to his first rugby game.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, he's sort of flying the flag for Scotland Rugby League, and he's tweeting about everything that's going on with Scotland, and he's really getting his name out there. He came on our radar, didn't he? I was like, oh, there's loads going on in Scotland, and it was all he's doing. It was like a one-man PR machine for Scotland, and rightly so. That's why the Scottish national team have now employed him as their media man. So he's gone on a journey this year as well.
Yeah, incredible journey.
Yeah, it was great to see.
And speaking of journeys, obviously our friend
yes.
Lewis, he was really surprised about nomination about this, but what did it for me with Lewis was we chat to him on that couch there, and we said, right, do you have aspirations of refereeing at a higher level? And he basically said, I would love to do this, do that, do this, do that the next step, and then perhaps next year think. And within 2 or 3 months, he'd knocked off all those steps. He would be a touch judge.
I think he wanted to
reserve ref.
He wanted to ref at a conference or national conference level, within the view to sort of doing sort of semi-pro League One within a couple of years. And about 2 months after we had him on the sofa, I turned up at a game and it was like, oh, he's there. We're catching up with him again. I've seen Lewis a few times this year. His refereeing's got better every year. You say a compliment there.
That's so he doesn't send you off next year.
Yeah, so his refereing's got really brilliant, and he's just risen up the ranks as the season's gone on.
And the thing is, that what also did it for me was he says it's not a thankless task, but I wouldn't want to be a referee. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. But without referees, we don't have a game.
No.
And he's put himself out. And I remember having a conversation with him, and he said, "Oh yeah, they asked me to go to Cornwall." At the drop of a hat, fucking miles away, for very little expenses, just about covered his fuel money, and he didn't go, but he was contemplating, and he felt a little bit guilty that he didn't go, and that amount of dedication deserves recognition. So
absolutely, and just I think this inspirational guest category, if he inspires any other young referees.
Well, the referee episode was one of the most popular episodes we had. It was one that everybody spoke about.
Yeah, everybody sort of messages me and sort of says, "Oh, I really love the referees episode. It's something from a different angle and getting their perspective on it." So I think we'll do another one of those in the future.
Okay, next up, I can't really talk about it because he's a good friend of mine, but we got Graham, who he had a ton of mentions throughout the series, really, because he's just up to so much.
Yeah.
Really obvious as to why he's a nominee. He completed his run from Wigan to Leeds. I was chatting to him the day, he was giving me the rundown, and first day, absolutely smashed it, no real problems. Second day, there was a point in which he was close to turning it in.
Yeah. And he didn't, so take your hat off to him. And how much has he raised in total?
Well, he's getting on for 12 grand now.
I'm going to say it was 11,000 last time I looked.
Yeah, he's getting on for 12 grand. Brilliant that he's doing this for Emin.
What did he set out to raise? 7,700 was it? 7,707 or something like that. He's absolutely smashed his target.
Yeah, he has, and I don't know for sure, but I knowing Graham the way I know Graham. It wouldn't surprise me if he set out just if I raise 700 quid, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just gone on and on and on. And obviously, I should mention that his now wife, Amanda, has been helped. She was there kind of helping out and looking after him and all that kind of stuff. So the pair of them, incredible effort.
And he's already working on Rugby League shirt day number the next shirt.
I think it's
and
the third one,
he's got another one in the pipeline. So he isn't stopping, is he? He's just relentless. He just wants to keep raising money.
Have you seen the shirt?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
I've seen the shirt.
Is it good?
I like it.
Right.
I like it. It's like a little bit retro, a little bit vintage, like stylish. The one, it's not that he's got on there, but it's another one. It's a bit too much for me. I wouldn't wear this, but I'd wear the design he's bringing out next year. Is a nice shirt.
So to be confirmed, then we'll get that on you.
Yeah, I should just whack it up now, but he did tell me this is top secret. Don't fucking share it. So, should we share it? Okay, so that's that. So how do we announce this then?
I think I'll just. Have you got some music?
But I don't know, the drum roll, whatever. I'll give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
So the winner that we've chosen for most inspirational guest is Alex Smith.
Yeah, Alex. For me, let me just explain why he got my vote. You can, first of all, apologies to everyone else that was nominated. Such strong cases, but this podcast is about growing rugby league outside the heartlands. Now, anybody that's played a part in the creation of 4 kids teams, like those waves are going to be felt 10, 12 years time. We just don't know where that's going to end up. And he's got another club in a box ready to go.
Yeah, waiting to go.
It's just massive. And this guy loves rugby league.
Yeah, and just sort of talking to him and how many kids he's actually brought through junior rugby that's now playing.
He gave a number, didn't he?
I can't remember, but it was absolutely loads. And he's a guy who just won't stop. Well,
he did stop when he snapped his finger.
Sausage fingers other week, yeah. But yeah, he's really inspirational, and that's the reason he's took the award.
Okay, so we'll get that award to him, and we'll share a picture of Alex on our socials in the next couple of days. Right, okay, so moving on. We've got our Guest of the Year nominations.
Is this the big one?
This is the big one. Now, you'll notice that there's like seven
people,
individuals.
yeah.
But what we've done is we've put a couple of people together because their episode just stood out for a couple of different reasons. We'll talk about that in a bit. So let's have a look. Okay, so so that's the nominations for Guest of the Year. Again, I think some people were quite surprised. I wasn't. All of those people there. When we was putting the clips together, getting all the clips together, just such great episodes. Real standout stories.
Yeah, brilliant episodes. I found it quite difficult to whittle it down and then I realised that I can't nominate everybody.
Yeah. I didn't. I had a clear winner, and there's a certain reason for that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So the criteria for the Guest of the Year was awarded to the standout guest of the series with an engaging backstory, who's had a clear and obvious impact on the growth of rugby league in all its forms. So we just kind of threw this criteria together, but we had to have something. So that's kind of what we went for. So let's just talk a little bit about each in turn. So Karl, obviously, first one was Martin Gill.
Martin Gill, absolute brilliant episode. That was probably one of my favourite episodes that we recorded. Obviously, James Simpson was the name that everybody knew.
He was the headline, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the headline act, wasn't he? And his mate Martin. Martin now was actually England wheelchair coach. He's now developing the wheelchair game up in Scotland. There was a few things about Martin that I just really enjoyed. One, the podcast just flowed so well. It was some of the stuff he said it was really interesting. He had some brilliant quotes in there. He was really witty. He bounced off Simo brilliantly. I thought the two of them were, you know, really funny. And then obviously the story that sort of dropped on us when we were recording. I'll let you sort of go into that.
Yeah, so we were just, like you said, very witty, forward about, you know, laughing, joking, all this kind of stuff. And so I said, oh, you know, what we talked about, like, as rugby league being anything else other than just a sport. And it was a bit of a loaded question for Simo. Now, because obviously he's lost a couple of legs, he's lost some fingers, you know, lost a lot of muscle off his forearm and all this kind of stuff. And it was a bit of a leading question for him to say, well, yeah, help me recover when I got smashed out in Afghan. And then Martin says, well, I'll just go first. And he told this incredible story, and go back and listen to it, because, you know, it really, you know, pulls on your heartstrings about how he lost his daughter. And he then took a bit of time out of rugby league and all that kind of stuff. And through rugby league, he realised that he missed it. And through, you know, rugby league, it's got him back into sport and helped him. And, you know, we both got kids. I can't imagine going through something like that.
No.
I don't want to imagine it, you know, and I wish it on anybody. But to hear how rugby league had enticed him back, almost back to life, was just incredible to listen to.
And then how he's gone on to then help so many other people. That's what was, you know, it was really inspiring, wasn't it? And that's what I mean with that episode. It had absolutely everything. It was like we had really deep, emotional moments. Some moments that were just an absolute laugh, brilliant, and then we got some real inside knowledge into the sort of technical side of wheelchair rugby. So yeah, he was a great guest.
Next guests, this is our first pair of Martin de Ridder, who got some absolute stick from his lads at Staffordshire, and also Matt Williscroft as well. So I mean, you know these two a bit better because you actually got invited up to their club, didn't you?
No, I actually got invited to a rugby union spokesperson dinner.
Did you?
Yeah, and sort of Martin now was. This is the reason these guys have been nominated. Is they started a new club this year, didn't they? The Staffordshire Quantums, first time they've been playing rugby league. They, you know, existed as a rugby union club. They absolutely embraced the game, didn't they? Just threw themselves in, feet first, everything. They, you know, they've almost become. I don't think they'll mind me saying this. They've almost become a rugby league club first, and a rugby union club second. That's how much they embrace the game. And like I said, he invited me up to a sportsman's dinner, which was in a rugby union club up in Stafford, and he was like. He was like the bad boy in the room because he was like, rugby leagues, this and rugby leagues. It was like, hang on, Martin, this is a rugby union international you're talking to here. And he's like, no, rugby league. Absolutely bought into it. And their episode was so funny.
Yeah. It was hilarious. So there is a trend. It's a very obvious trend in rugby union where, you know, rugby league is the poor cousin or whatever, you know what I mean? And some people are that far up their own arse, they just won't entertain it. These two lads, union through and through, played rugby league and gone, hang on a minute, this clubhouse would be costing us money in the summer. We've generated funds. Not like a couple of £100, thousands of pounds. And we chatted to them and they were like, why are rugby union clubs not doing this in the summer? You know, why? And so they're going to other clubs and promoting, saying, you need to get a rugby league team started. And there's clubs nearby. And they had a lot of, you know, there's obviously a lot of rugby union clubs are well swept up. They know what they're doing. They generate a lot of money and generate a lot of interest and all that kind of stuff. And they're mapping a load of that across to rugby league. So they've done some massive things to...
I'm involved in a WhatsApp group that's like got.
I was going to mention the WhatsApp.
Loads of people from Midlands rugby in it, and it were those guys that started it. It's like, why has nobody else ever done that before? This club's just come around the first ever year, and they're already like promoting the game. Brilliant.
And they also had a clip go viral, over 1 million views.
Yeah. We're still trying to work out how we manage that, don't we?
Okay, next up is Adam Bates from Sherwood Wolfhunt, but also Ireland international team manager.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the episode with Adam. He
spoke so well.
He spoke so much sense, didn't he? And if anybody wants to know how to run a rugby league club, that's the guy to go see. He had a plan for everything. he had some great stories about when he was involved with Ireland, and he's
trying to get
Luke Carey over on an aeroplane. It was costing him a fortune and all the rest of it. So he had some brilliant stories. It's great what he's done with Sherwood. That's really established club now. Sherwood are. They've got everything right. If you look at their website, you look at the marketing, you look how they run the club for their players. That is the club that the other clubs should aim to be. Brilliant how they do stuff.
Okay. Next pair is we had Toby Whelan and Pete Gattenby. So
we haven't even mentioned the Grub Cup yet.
No, we haven't. Yeah. So there's been a thread throughout the season of the Grub Cup. So if you don't know, if you haven't seen the episode, so Karl and Pete have got they had a bit of history. Do you want to tell the kind of story from your point of view?
All right. Yeah. Okay. We'll go through it all again. So I was looking on Leamington's social media, and they announced a new player, a player that was going to play again next season. His name's called Pete. And they called him a grub on this thing. I was looking at it thinking, I know that guy from somewhere. Yes, that's it. And I sort of mentioned him, didn't I, on a show, saying, me and him, we had a bit of a set two on one of games.
Yeah, because you're both from Bradford. You're both, you were chatting before the game, and it was like, from Bradford. Yeah, I played at this, you know what I mean? And then, really nice.
Kick off, and the gloves are off, and so yeah, I sort of called him out a little bit, didn't I, on the show, and then when we invited Leamington on, we didn't know who were coming on. It was like, and they didn't actually say straight away. And then they sort of had a message thing come through. It was like, we're bringing video evidence with us. Yeah. Which was just that show was brilliant for that reason. So
and they were funny lads. The way they were talking about it, and they clearly. It's one of them clubs that they do well. They turn out some great stuff, turn out some great rugby, but actually don't take it that seriously either. In a roundabout way, like when the Raiders played them, they were doing they were all laugh out that night, silly shirt thing.
They're massive on the social side of it, aren't they? Yeah. So the other reason I really enjoyed that episode, it was the. Do we mention it again? The £6 ticket fiasco. So that was just going on, wasn't it, at the time? And they came on and they were so funny with it, and it cracked me up, that episode did.
Yeah, so they were definitely great guests because and then this then turned into the Grub Cup. So when Raiders played, I'm sure I've turned this bloody. Oh, the button's stuck. There we go. When Raiders played Leamington, they'd bought a little trophy.
Yeah, they actually.
Grub Club, you know what I mean? And whoever won the game, and you played them 3 times throughout the season. And, so it was just great. And in the episodes, we was talking about, we need stuff for people to talk about. We need this little local rivalry because it's like Leeds, Bradford, you know what I mean? It's like Wigan Saints, it's like the Hull Derby, you know what I mean?
Telford Leamington. Like it's on same scale now, and it's got a trophy and everything.
So that's that. And then that's it.
That's it, all the guests there, mate.
That's it. So, okay, so we need a little drum roll. So I'll leave it for you to announce. Should we do a 3, 2, 1 and then go for it?
Go on.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, dink.
So the guest of the series, I think it's quite obvious. We agreed on this straight away, didn't we? So the guest of the series is none other than Martin Gill. Absolutely brilliant guest for all the reasons we've just said. He might not have an MBE, Simo, but he has got this really heavy Rugby League Outsiders award.
That's going to cost a fortune to send in the post.
When I flipping it, yeah.
Yeah, so he missed out on the World Cup winning medal, but he's got a Rugby League Outsiders Guest of the Year award.
Guest of the Year award, yeah.
All right, so again, apologies to all those nominees that kind of missed out and all that kind of stuff. And we could, like you said, there was so many that we could have had as kind of nominees and everything. And Martin really was kind of a standout guest for lots of different reasons. So that's the end of our presentations. Karl, it's only right that we kind of talk a little bit about the future. What
future.
You kind of see, the podcast going, how we're going to run it, what we're going to do over the winter.
Well, it ain't stopping, is it? We're on a bit of a roller coaster at the minute. So we did sort of plan to wrap up here, didn't we? And that was going to be the end of Series 1. But there's a lot happening at the minute with the international games that are going to be coming up. We are going to be involved with the England wheelchair team. We have been invited down to do some recording with them. We've got an episode coming out with the highlights of the League One final. We've got a mental health podcast coming out, and then we've got a big announcement, haven't we, Craig?
We have got a big announcement. We're in two minds whether we're going to announce it, but anyway, so this podcast was first formed to help grow rugby league outside the Heartlands. Now, one of the ways that what we did was in the Midlands final, we streamed. We kind of sponsored the stream, and we thought that was a great way of just raising awareness so people can view the final. And I think that worked quite well.
Yeah, it did.
But we want to go one step further for next year. And what we're working on is a Rugby Nines competition in the Midlands, so we could invite teams from all over the country, armed forces teams, public service teams, all sorts of different teams. And we really want this to become like a rugby festival where we've got games and great play during the day, and then in the evening,
maybe even a bit of live music on an evening or something like that.
No, I think definitely live music. I've got someone who is quite big on the old live music.
All right, you've got somebody lined up already. Go on, who's your contact? You haven't even told me that.
Yeah, well, it's not a major singer or anything like that. But she puts on loads of live events, open mic nights and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's what we want it to be, a Rugby League festival. We're looking in and around May time.
Maybe June. We are working with the RFL on this as well to try and schedule this into the season so that there isn't any clashes with league fixtures and stuff like that. And I think they're getting behind it. So we're still talking to a few venues where it's going to be hosted that haven't been decided yet. We will put more information out. It'll be midlandsnines.com is where the website's going to be, and we'll get that up and running in the next couple of weeks. The logo's already done. We're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah, we don't mess around. And we want massive prizes. We want big prizes, don't we? Do we? Or I just made that up?
I don't know. You're gonna get your checkbook out and we have a massive check or something. Be careful what you say.
Yeah, so we want it to be quite exciting. Hand in hand, well, not hand in hand with that, but in addition to that, so the Raiders ran a media day this year. We want to help people with their media, help wherever we can, advise if people want our advice or whatever, and perhaps bring clubs together, bring all the chairmans together or all the social media reps together, whatever, and just run like workshops. Because we really do want this game to succeed in the Midlands and outside the Heartlands. So
yeah, I spoke to Fred and the guy from the RFL, the South, and he sort of it'd be great to get all the clubs together in the winter, in the off season, to share best practice between them all before we actually get to the season, so we can really help. It's helping each other, isn't it? You got a quote for me?
For what?
The rising tide.
No,
I got you out there.
Oh shit! I was thinking about something else. When you said quote, I was like that. But for what? like a costing. Okay, let's wrap it up, Karl. So, what's kind of your final thoughts? If you could sum up the first series.
It's been an absolute roller coaster, but one I've loved doing it, really enjoyed it, and thank you to you as well for sort of, helping me come on this little journey that we've been on this year, and hopefully next year, season 2 ends up being bigger and better, and we keep going with it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's held us back is, this is voluntary. You know what I mean? We don't get any kind of sponsorship and all that. Maybe we will in the future, but, this is all time that we've cobbled together. It's been a massive learning experience because, we had it, didn't we, where it's like if we recorded 1 hour, then on average it took 4 hours to edit.
Yeah.
We're working on getting that down so we can turn out more episodes, better quality, boosting the set. We're just trying to progress, really. There's too many podcasts and some rugby league podcasts out there where it's just no microphones, crap footage, poor audio quality. Karl's worked really hard to get social media a better standard, and we want to do exactly the same with the podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So we ain't stopping is the message from me.
No, I think that's a perfect way to sign off season 1. Do you reckon?
No, final thing is, I've got to say thank you to everybody that's watched, listened, shared, commented. You know, we do value everybody. You know, it's not just numbers in the back of our YouTube dashboard or, you know, Spotify dashboard and all that kind of stuff. What I will say though is if you haven't subscribed, you know, we're going to be perhaps a little bit sporadic with putting videos out, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the great episodes. We're going to do a load of student rugby league stuff, and, you know, obviously the run up to the season next year in the Midlands and more. So yeah, please subscribe and share and just, you know, help us keep growing.
And I think the final thought from me then is just to thank you to all the guests that have been on, because without those guests sharing those stories, it wouldn't have been what it was, would it?
No, exactly. Right, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next episode. That's the final whistle for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on social media and share this podcast with your friends. And as always, if you have a story to tell, a club to plug, or a player that deserves recognition, we want to hear from you. So until next time on the Rugby League Outsiders, take care.